I want you to sit back for a moment and just imagine what would it be like to have your social media platforms have hundreds or maybe even thousands of likes and comments. I know there's some platforms you follow like that. What would it be like if it was yours? What would it be like to have your friends and family members like asking, how did you become so famous so fast? I want you to imagine for a second what it would be like to make real money and maybe even have millions of views on your online videos. And I know a lot of that sounds, frankly, sometimes just too good to be true, but everything that I just described happened to my guest today. And the great news is this isn't in some get rich in real estate or even get rich in social media scheme. This is in an actual business in the real world of all things with wig making. Today on the show, we're going to show you how you can use your social media platforms like Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and LinkedIn to get more attention, to get more engagement, and ultimately to get more customers. EdTalks Live is next. Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to the show. I've got the whole hour to share with you some of the most amazing strategies. But before I do that, I want to welcome some of you who have just jumped in on chat. Jump in on the right-hand side. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do. Today's show, I'm telling you, I've been excited about today's show for weeks. We're going to be unpacking some social media strategies. And I want to tell you a little bit of a story before I introduce my guest to you. Some of you know who I'm about to bring on. Back in 2004, my guest had nothing, okay? No name, no following, no fans, no license or qualifications, no celebrity contacts, no money, nothing. Living in a small apartment in the Air Force. But she had one thing going for her, which was a willingness to be pushed outside of her comfort zone. And so I would love to welcome my dear friend, Marquetta Breslin, to the show. What's up? How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Thank you for having me on again.
It is such an honor. I'm going to jump into chat in just a second. But before I do that, I want to go back just a little bit because I'm going to ask you to share your story. Sure. But before I do that, I just want to let you know as you're watching this, the things that we're going to be teaching today are based in the real world. Now, you may have heard some social media strategies from someone whose only business has ever been to sell social media strategies. Now, personally, I like to learn from somebody who's like doing it in the real world. The second thing is you may have learned social media strategies from someone who did it like 4 years ago and it worked 4 years ago, but you and I both know that social media changes like every week, okay?
Yes.
And so today, you're gonna be learning some real life strategies. I wanna show you a little pictures, first of all. This one right here, I asked Marquetta to send me a couple before and afters, okay? So on the left-hand side, you'll see a post that was on Facebook back in 2010 that got one comment, okay? So now some of you are familiar with this. I am also, where you like post something and you're like, this is gonna be great, and you get one comment. That's the before shot, but look at the after shot. Are you kidding me? Look at that. 3,000 likes, 169 comments, 1,000 shares, and 785,000 views. I've got a couple more before and afters. But Marquetta, welcome. So good to have you.
Thank you so much, Ed. I'm so happy to be here, and I'm really excited about this. You were one of the ones that encouraged me to share my social media strategies. And you make such a great point that a lot of people who teach how to do social media only teach how to do social media. And it's important that if you run a business, you understand it from that perspective of, hey, I have this business. Now, how can I leverage these different platforms, not only to grow my audience, but so that I can communicate with people outside of my audience to gain a new following and share my message. And then, of course, profit on the end. So I'm excited for this show.
It's gonna be awesome. Let me jump through chat, which, by the way, just exploded. Sure. Roy Red said, just finished my show and I've got time to watch insanely implementable ideas. Good to see you, Barry, as well. Robert, insanely implementable. Hello, Simply Irresistible. Welcome, Salih and Sally. Good to have you all back in the show. Diana, What's up, Christina? Philly to KY. I love it. I'm a Philly to San Diego person. So, and to question mark, who knows where's next? What's next? David Zetz, good to see you, buddy. He's gonna just comment on your hair.
Oh,
I always Marquetta's got a new something awesome going all the time. And Marquetta, just so you know that as you're watching the show with Marquetta and I, just so you know that like the comments aren't just seeded all positive. There is some random person on.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
So just so you know, we welcome all viewpoints from all walks of life. And all I would say, Case Money 0G, bot. Okay, I'm sorry. Case Money 0G. I would just simply encourage you to watch the show, and then by the end, you can determine whether or not this is propaganda or not.
Agreed.
We got a whole bunch of Philly in the house. So, all right. So let's get into it. So here's what I would love for you to do.
Sure.
I did like my research for. Oh, they don't count. All right. So I did my research, Marquetta, and I dug up some pictures of you. So this is a picture up in the top is the Gilbert Apartments where Marquetta used to live. This is Marquetta on the right, deployed. This is her in the Air Force. And from what I understand about your story, this is where it all started. So tell me the story.
So it all started in that 600 square foot apartment right outside the back gate at Langley Air Force Base. So the story behind the apartment is Ricky and I just got married. He lived there before we got married, and he had this bright idea. He said, the rent's really cheap and we want to build a business. We can invest a lot of the income back into the business if we live in this 600 square foot apartment. So that's what we did. We literally lived in that apartment until we got stationed at our next duty station. But while we were there, we started to build the business. And I didn't have a name. Like you said earlier, I had no following, no license, no qualifications. I had nothing. We had the little income that we were getting at that time from the Air Force. So we didn't know what we were doing. There was really no social media outside of MySpace. And then there was another one called Black Planet, where a lot of Black people hung out, and that was my market. Wow. So I only knew how to work MySpace. I didn't even know about Facebook until my little brother told me about it. He was actually the one who also told me about Instagram. Wow. So I remember, I think I was home one weekend and he said, why don't you just put your videos here? You should just try it. And now even though at that time we had a couple of DVDs where I was teaching how to do hair, I did not like how I looked on video, could not stand the sound of my voice. But I said, hey, I don't have a name, following, fans. Why don't I'll just do it. I have nothing to lose. So I did it, and absolutely nothing happened. And just when I was about to start saying, you know what, this is not for me, people started to respond little by little, and then it encouraged me a little bit. And that's when I really started to say, okay, people that I don't know actually want to hear what I have to say. So I took that, and listen, I wasn't trying to be refined or polished. I was just being Marquetta. Yeah. I am not, I was just being me. That's the one thing I will say. Over the past 17 years of being in business, the one compliment that I get that is so amazing to hear. I just had a live event this past week, and about 6 attendees came up to me and said, you know what, you are the same Marquetta that I see on that show, that I see on your videos, that I see everywhere, and that they've always seen. And there was a lady who had followed me via social media, and she was on my email list, that she had been a customer and a fan for 15 years. Wow. She literally watched my daughter grow up via social media. So social media is a very, very powerful tool that you can use to connect with an audience. And listen, it took her 15 years to get to a live event. 15 years. And you never know where you're meeting people at. You never know where they're at when it comes to social media. So I love social media, but I'm so glad that I didn't give up and that I was willing to be pushed past my comfort zone when my little brother said, "Hey, just put your video here." This happened.
It's interesting. There's a couple points in there. I mean, the first one is just doing it. I mean, I've got some of these screenshots that we pulled from the early days. So I've got this one, which I think is hysterical. So this is a video called "How to Maintain Your Hair Color" that has 17 thumbs up. And then check this one out, by the way. This one here, I don't know if you can see this or not. This has 30,000 plus likes and 2.3 million views, and it's gone up since we took that screenshot. And so there is like this feeling, sometimes when you put stuff out there, there's this feeling that you just said it to nobody, and just because they didn't like you doesn't mean that they're not following you. I mean, I just had the same experience. I had a woman who was following me back in 2009 reach out. So this is how crazy this is. On a podcast, I said, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing a book club where we all write our books together and help each other on our books." And she emailed me out of the blue and said, "Where do I put my deposit?"
Oh my goodness.
I'm for real. Like it had been 12 years that she had been on my list and I hadn't seen a hide nor hair of her. And then the second point I really thought was really important is being you. I mean, if you follow Marquetta, which you definitely need to do, I'm going to pull up some of your social media accounts as we get into this show.
Okay.
You will see a normal person talking about normal things in an extraordinary way. And so it's not like you see sometimes there's massive production. And by the way, you have a business now where you are doing some high production value stuff. There's nothing wrong with that. Mm-hmm. But you'll see some stuff that's massively produced. And sometimes you just want to see like what they're like their kid scoring a touchdown in football or something.
Yep.
And I thought that's really, really brilliant. Anyway, keep going with the story because this is really amazing.
So once I started getting a little bit of feedback, I started posting more videos, then I started posting pictures, and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know that there was a strategy. I didn't know. I was just giving the audience what they wanted to see and what they wanted to hear. And over time, I started to understand, okay, this is a strategy that I'm developing. This is there were 5 pillars or 5 different types of posts that my audience likes. But what people have to understand is that it's different for multiple platforms.
Yeah.
And it took me a little bit of time to understand that there's a different level of communication on each platform. You don't speak the same. So it's things like that I developed over time. And then I realized the biggest lesson for me in the story of how I started building social media is that, number one, you're not for everybody. And number 2, the things that you may want to post on your social media just may not be what the people want to see.
Yeah.
And then I also learned the importance of value, being valuable, making sure that the information that you post is of value, something that they can use. And it doesn't always have to be like that. But these are the things that I learned and developed over time. And at first it was very discouraging. The first thing I thought was, oh my gosh, who in the world would want to listen to me? The second thing I thought was, what if nobody said anything? Yeah. What if there was just crickets? What would I do? And the third thing was, what if somebody posted a negative comment? But I realized early on that you can't focus on those things. You have to push past all of that and just stand your ground and share your message.
It's really good. I have to tell you, well, here, let me do this real quick. By the way, those of you just joined us, and we did have a huge group of people just join us. My name's Ed Rush. I'm here with my friend Marquetta Breslin. We're talking about your social media blueprint. In a moment, we're going to walk through 5 steps that Marquetta has developed to show you how to attract, engage, and grow and profit from your following. And we'll get to that. We'll giving you some strategies for getting this done. By the way, there's more to come. I think Marquetta and I next week are planning on doing a Zoom training to really go deep on some of this stuff. And then I'll also say Marquetta and her husband, Ricky, are launching a product in a week called Social Media Blueprint. I've been able to help them. I've been blessed to help them with some of the marketing. And so together. We'll share some of the ins and outs of that product. It's off the chart stuff, and I think it's a great deal too. So I'll tell you about that a little bit later in the show. But I want to get into some of the strategy. But before I do that, I want to say hello to some of us on chat. So Gina says hello. Good to see you as well. Roy's like, oh my God. So if you missed this, Marquetta was saying when she first did social media, there were 2 social media platforms. MySpace really took off, and one called Black Planet. So she said those were the days. Hello, Elizabeth Jackson. Welcome, 1 Corinthians 13 to the show. All right, so we're talking about social media and how to flat out get it done. I told you that I would show you some examples. Okay, so I'm going to pull up just quickly. I'm going to pull up Marquetta's social or Instagram page. And the reason I do this is just to show you that she walks the talk. So first of all, she's a blue check mark person on Instagram, which, by the way, I think that's the most important place if you're chasing after verified.
Excuse me.
Is the place for that. Facebook's kind of fallen away. Twitter is nearly worthless. And then you can see on here, this is who she is. I mean, you can see when you go here, there's some event photos or videos that's from just a couple weeks ago. There's some people that she's worked with. There's like random stuff about what happened in the airport. There's things that are happening inside of her studio. There's her husband's new glamour shot, which I think is awesome. And you'll see some stuff from her family here. So there's like her daughter, Naya. And so what she just said is exactly what she's doing. You'll also notice when you get here that she has 107,000 people that follow her. And this is her, right? This is who she is. Events, mentorship, books, and also the spiritual side. And so like I brought that up just to show the fact that, who you see, like when Marquetta and Ricky and I hang out, last time we were together, we were having breakfast at that local place, which I thought was awesome. I can't remember the name of that breakfast.
Rise and Shine.
Rise and Shine. We're having breakfast, and the person that I was talking to at breakfast across the table from me, that Marquetta is the same one that you see on Instagram, which is pretty cool and also pretty rare. And so really that's one of the most important first points. So let's get into, there's 5 main pillars. I'm intimately familiar with those, obviously, because we worked on the product together. Mm-hmm. But let's start with the fast start. This is the idea that you lay a foundation that's right, because you can mess up your social media just from a wrong foundation.
Yeah, so you have to, building your social media platform on a solid foundation is one of the most important things you have to do. And people don't understand that if you can't build a house on rocks. You have to have and lay a solid foundation before you get to the next step in the building of the house. So the foundational aspect of building your platform the right way is very, very, very important. So you have to start with your why. What is it that you're doing, but why are you doing it? Let's take me, for example. Let's take the wig side of things. Why do I teach people how to make wigs for cancer patients? My biggest why is because my mom was diagnosed with cancer when back in 2006, and that's how this whole entire wig making realm came into fruition. So you have to understand when you tap into that why, it helps people to connect with you. People say that people buy people, but people also buy the why. They want to know why you're doing something.
That's good.
That's very, very, very important. You also, another key thing with this social media fast start is understanding your voice. You have to understand, and I say that, and sometimes people say, well, I know my voice. Sure. But people think they know their voice and they really don't, because there's always a little bit of hesitation there, because there's a fear of what their peers are going to say or think about them. But you have to come at it from an aspect of you being you. And there are people who love you for who you are, and you have to carry that over into the social media realm. Hopefully you're a great person and not a mean person. But that's a very important aspect that we're talking about as well in that first social media fast start.
All right, so let's go to the voice real quick, because I want to talk about this. So I was a fighter pilot in the Marines, and you would think that gave you thick skin. Well, it gave me thick skin like in an airplane. But within a year of me launching my business back in 2007, I think it was. And I don't remember. I think my website got posted on some forum someplace. I got like this rush of negative comments on one of my businesses that all happened like all at once. And I have to tell you, it almost ruined me. I actually almost gave up business like right there, like right in the first year. Thank God I didn't. And you said something that said, you said one of your worries was, what if nothing happens? But then even worse than that is like, what if people have started making negative comments? And that certainly happened to me. That's happened to you too, I know. We talked about that. So how do you do, because the truth is when you're you, people normally respond well, but there are some people that respond out of criticism or jealousy, or they had a hard childhood and now they're blaming everyone else. I mean, like, how do you deal with that?
So it's funny that you even bring this up, because I just had a fellow wig maker. She shot me a message on Instagram and said, somebody is posting negative things about me. How do I handle this? And the biggest thing that I always tell people, I actually just posted about this on social media. You cannot, this is what my grandma used to tell me. She said, baby, they talked about Jesus, they're going to talk about you too. That's exactly how she used to say it. So you have to realize that you're not exempt from negativity. Unfortunately, that's just the fact. We're not exempt from negativity, but it's how we handle the negativity.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, I was watching a T.D. Jakes, and he said something that I had never heard before. He said, other people's opinion of you is none of your business. And once you get that here, and you sit and think about that, because he's right. What someone else feels or thinks or says about you is really none of your business. You have to look at it from that aspect. And then the other part to it is a lot of times people are spewing negativity from a place of jealousy or from an insecurity that they have. Maybe you're in a position that they felt that they should have been in, or that they want to be in. So if you think about it from that aspect, the negativity goes from, you think about it being this big and it goes here to nothing.
It's also like a sign sometimes that you're doing things right,
Exactly.
And I will just say the last one, I got this email, I can't remember when it was, but it's one of those long emails. Oh my gosh. And I got done with it. I replied and I just said, it sounds like you need a hug. And that was literally all I said. And I think I felt good about that. And they probably felt good about that. Here's a comment I want to highlight real quick. And we're going to go into the second point, which is how to attract. But Marquetta, this is my high school math teacher, Paul Hummer.
Oh, wow.
And he says, I think she said, when you feel led to do something, you must be obedient to the word and walk by faith, not by sight. If by word she meant the Bible or the incarnate word, then I'd say amen. I also like the cross around her neck. It points to our only hope. And I had to say Mr. Hummer, because that's like what I'm used to. I was just telling my wife a story about you and the Stowe project that you did. And people used to throw all this food away. And my math teacher, Paul Hummer, who believed in and had a deep relationship with God, he would create these bins where people could put their throwaway food, and then he would take it and feed people with it. So he was a man who did what he was a man.
That is amazing.
Action on the things that he said. So some other really great comments. Simply Irresistible, welcome Strawberry to the show. Slee says NOYB. Hey Juanita, what's up? Terry says, what others think of me is none of my. I love that. I love that quote, man. I love it. It's none of my business. And sometimes we've shared, Marquetta and I just, with our little prayer team, shared this video from a guy named Graham Cook.
Oh, man, that video is great.
Who learned that the criticism was actually making him stronger. So anyway, embrace that. And I think it was funny. We had a good example of that right here in the beginning of the show. All right. So for those of you who just joined us, my name's Ed Rush. I'm here with Marquetta Breslin. We're talking about your social media blueprint. If you haven't had the chance to do so, click the button below that says subscribe. We do 2 shows a week, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. EdTalks Live, the most positive place on the planet for insanely implementable ideas. So click the subscribe button. There's a little bell next to it that tells you when you click that, it gives you a notification when we go live. And we do go live sometimes without even telling you. So you never know what's coming up next. All right, so there's 4 steps to this, and I'm going to pull up a graphic really quickly. If I can find it, I think I've got it in here. There's 4 steps to this system, and I think I really do believe this is genius how you laid this out. And so I want to share this real quick because the next 4 steps are what Marquetta, you're going to be taking us through. So here are the steps. It's so simple and yet so profound. Step number 1 is to attract your audience. Step number 2 is to engage. This actually is second, not third, and I want to get to that in a second. But then there's grow and then profit, and that's really the order that it goes in. Mm-hmm. I think it's really bright because when you attract an audience, the first thing people want to do is make money out of it. Mm-hmm. But if you can get them engaged, like for example, this screenshot right here shows. Sorry, which one? Where's the one with the shares?
Oh,
yeah. This one had 1,000 shares. When you have people sharing your content, it gets out in front of people that aren't necessarily already following you. And it's a huge way to grow really fast. So take us through those 4 in any order that you want to: attract, engage, grow, and profit.
So starting with attraction, people are attracted to you because of what you present or what you portray to your audience.
Right.
So it starts there. You have to, and it goes with everything that I said earlier, with understanding your voice, understanding who you are. You have to hone in on that foundational aspect because that's what attracts people to you. People are attracted to genuine, authentic people who are who share valuable information. At the end of the day, you can go through most of my social media posts, and there's some sort of value there, even if it's just in the actual picture in and of itself. There's some sort of value. So the attraction part of it is very, very, very important. I always say one of the things that pains me so much to see is an amazing business person that has, how do I say this without being mean? That has content on their page that's not conducive to the people that are following them. Yeah. For instance, it may be something, let's just say unprofessional posts. That's a turnoff for a lot of people. You're going to attract the wrong type of people. If your page is based on one thing, but yet you're showing something else, that's a no-no. That doesn't attract people. It's actually the polar opposite.
Yeah.
So engage. The number one thing I say is, it's called social media because you have to be social. People don't understand that.
I think I forgot that part a couple of times. You can't just post. You can't just automate like 7 posts a week and like never interact with anybody. Basically, is what you're saying. That's what I'm learning. By the way, Marquetta's teaching me all this stuff. That's what I'm learning. So if you comment on my Instagram post now, I actually like your posts now because I'm being social, and I may even comment back. So
yes, so that's really important, is engaging with your audience so they know that you exist and that they know you're real. And it also just shows that you're human. And a lot of times what some people do, especially the people who have the large following, sometimes they will just post something and then the next time you hear from them again is on the next post. But what these social media platforms, what they like is for you to be engaging with your audience. The more you can comment back, the more visibility that particular post will be. So it's okay to engage with your audience. Sometimes with particular posts, you may say, hey, tag people who like this, or tag someone who can relate. Engagement is very, very, very important. And that's an opportunity. During the engagement phase is an opportunity for you to be able to post and say, or let's just say you're responding to a question that they're asking, it's an opportunity for you to position yourself as the expert, to show how much knowledge you have about the thing that they're asking about. So don't look at it as, oh my gosh, I gotta go answer these comments. No, those are opportunities for you to show them how amazing you are and how what you do is incredible, so that they can raise their hand at some point and say, hey, I want to learn from you.
It's amazing. So, I mean, if you had an event, which you do, if you had an event that had 100 people and someone came up to you at the event and asked a question, you would engage with them and answer their question like a person would answer a person. I mean, I'll bet you half of my event is spent in the back talking and answering questions and helping people. And social media is the same way. And I will tell you, there is, I did an interview, I think it was about a month and a half ago, with David Zetz, who's watching the show right now. David built a 6-figure business by doing nothing more than taking people who commented on his posts on Facebook and Instagram, replying into a conversation that led to an offline conversation that led to a deal. It's so powerful. And a lot of times I think as business owners, we think, gosh, man, it's so hard to connect with my market and I don't know where but then all these people are on your social media commenting and you're like, forget those people. I need to go run some ads someplace. So I think what you're saying is really, really powerful. Keep going.
All right, grow. So growth is so important because we don't want to have the same followers for 13 years. We want to grow. We want to expand our message. So I learned over the years some strategies for growth that does include a paid marketing side. And you can also grow without having the paid marketing side. But I believe anytime you have the opportunity to amplify, do it, because you get to control the narrative with that. Yeah. You get to target a specific amount of people or a specific person based on demographics to grow your audience and target people that are specific to your message. So that's why that is so important. And plus, you want to be able to communicate your message to as many people as possible. So that growth nugget is extremely important. And over these years, over the past 17 years, I've developed a growth strategy for both the paid side as well as the non-paid side. Now, obviously, you're going to grow faster when you can put money behind it. But the myth behind that is people really think that you need thousands and thousands of dollars to grow an audience, which could not be further from the truth. I just ran a test ad with I had one video that had absolutely no views whatsoever. I ran this ad with a new strategy that I've developed, and for $11 a day, in about 2 weeks, that video now has over 1 million views.
Really? Wait a second. So $11 a day for how long?
Yes.
You said, did you say 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
All right.
For $11 a day on Facebook. It was amazing. So, and then from that, it has
about $150. For about $150, you got 1 million.
Yep.
You haven't told me that.
That didn't even include the comments. I don't even know how many comments or shares. It didn't even include that, or how much my audience grew from those views. That was just the views. I didn't look at the other stats before I came on here, but it's a myth. You don't need thousands of dollars to grow an audience or to run ads on these social media platforms.
I mean, when I grew my Facebook, when I was really growing my Facebook presence, I think I was spending $5 a day. It wasn't even that much. It was just enough to kind of get the thing going. But the good news is about that, and it's kind of what we were going back to when we said engagement. If you're willing to put a little bit of an ad budget, by the way, the things that Marquetta has taught me, I'd say probably 95% of it has nothing to do with advertising. So if you don't feel like putting money into it, it's okay. But what it ends up doing is, like, for example, if you put a few dollars a day, you end up with bringing some new people. You also end up attracting some people that haven't been paying attention to you. And if you get a few more likes and comments and shares on your post, it really expands its reach. So, for example, if you go to Instagram, it used to be that when I have 80,000 roughly fans on Instagram, and you have 107,000. So it used to be on Instagram, if you posted something and you had 107,000 people or 107 people, that post went in front of every single person that followed you. Now it doesn't. So for example, of my 80,000 people, I might have posts that only 1,000 people see, and I may have posts that 120,000 people see. Now you're like, wait a second, Ed, how could you have 80,000 people and 120,000 people see it? Well, here's why. Because if a post really gets a lot of engagement, and those are likes and comments and shares, if you get more engagement, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, start showing it to more people, because they're in the business of keeping people on their platform, and they know if that's good content that people are going to stay there. And so they actually give you benefit by when you create things that are interesting, which is why some of my best posts are ones where you ask people questions. And this is all the stuff that Marquetta teaches. Now, that's on the non-paid side, but on the paid side, if you could do that, you end up not artificially, but you give it a little bit of a boost. If you're putting a little money into it, you're giving it a little like, comment, and share boost. So potentially you get more access, and it's not even that much to be able to do that. So
yeah.
So I think that's super good. By the way, if you just joined us, my name is Ed Rush. Oh, wrong button. There. How about that one? That was last week's show. I just didn't get rid of it yet.
It was good though.
That was good. That was my. Hey, by the way, if you haven't, I gave you every single link I used in my business. I didn't mean to do that as a advertisement. So if you just joined us, my name is Ed Rush. I'm here with my friend Marquetta Breslin. We're talking about your social media blueprint. Together so far, we've covered attract, engage, grow. We'll talk a little bit about profit. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to shift gears in just a moment, and I'm going to tell you about something that's come around the corner in like a week that's going to blow your mind, okay? So I have one more post that I wanted to share, and then we're going to talk about profit, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the system. So this is the other one that I thought was awesome. Check this out. I mean, for real, look at this. So this is Marquetta's Instagram. On the left is 2012. Which, dude, that feels like 9,000 years ago.
I know. It's
I don't even think whoo, man. All right, so this is 2012. Check it out. This post was liked by her daughter and 3 other people. So, and then, and 2 comments. And on the right-hand side, you can see one of her current posts. This is 724,000 views and 308 comments. Okay, so the reason I'm showing you this stuff is really simple. You want to learn from somebody who's been there, done that, still doing it now, okay? And there's stuff that we'll be talking over breakfast, man. And there's stuff that changes all the time, and you want to stay plugged in. So let's hit number 4, which on the list, actually it's number 5, but on this list it's number 4, which is profit. And then we'll talk a little bit about the system after that.
So a lot of people don't really understand how to turn that corner and how to leverage your social media following for profit. Now, I recorded a video. It's actually, for some reason during quarantine, it's gotten thousands of views out of nowhere. And I recorded this video probably 4 or 5 years ago. In the video, one of the points I say is followers on Instagram or likes on Facebook don't necessarily equal dollars. Right. And I explain why, because a lot of people don't understand how to leverage that audience and turn them into customers. And the way to do that is while you're communicating your message, is to make sure that you are sprinkling in what you do. So for instance, I may post 4 different things in 4 different pillars, for lack of a better word. So one may be a video about wig making. One may be a video about teaching. One may be a video about the kids or something like that. And maybe that 6th or 7th video is, oh, by the way, I do have this product available that you can click the link on my bio to go and see what that is. That's one way. There's different ways of leveraging your following to turn a profit, but a lot of people don't understand how to do that. So the thing that they do is they sell. Yeah. Every post is selling something. Every image is selling something. There's a bunch of promo. That's not what you want to do. You want to provide that upfront value genuinely, so that when you are ready to ask for a sale, or when you are ready to have a launch or something like that, it makes sense, because you've given so much upfront. that now when it's time to ask, it's, oh yeah, well, I want that. I've seen all that you've done over the past, I don't know, 3-6 weeks. So that's what you've been working. Oh yeah, I want that. And it's easier for people to raise their hand. So that profit part is very, very, very important, because a lot of people don't understand how to do that effectively.
Well, and there's two mistakes. So on one side, there's people who don't offer anything. And you've got this social media platform that is interested in what you have. And I always tell people, if you're a little nervous or you're like, gosh, I don't really want to, you need to remember, those people that follow you, they are going to get their itch scratched someplace, okay? So if they're following you and they're learning about leadership, or they're following you, they're learning about a cosmetology strategy, or they're following you so that they can learn about, social media or something like that. If you're doing your job, they're going to be interested in learning more, and they're going to go out and find somebody to buy their course if you don't offer it to them, okay? So one way or another, those people are going to go invest some money in their own training. It might as well be with you if they're following you. On the other side, though, you see people where like every single post is a promotion about something. And I always just say it like this. Look, we do live events, okay? And I've been to a lot of live events, and I speak at a lot of live events. And there is a model for live events that goes like this. It's 3 days long, and there's about 6 speakers a day, and every speaker has an hour, and every speaker is selling something. Mm-hmm. And if you go to those events, and I've spoken at some of those events, by about the middle of the first day, half the audience is in the hallway because nobody wants to get sold to.
Yeah.
Okay. When you come, for example, to Marquetta's events or my events, we do have offers in the events, but usually there's like maybe one a day is usually the way that I do it. Mm-hmm. And you've got 8 hours of content and a 15-minute discussion of like a follow-on product. And I think that's appropriate. And if you take that model to your social media and you give great resources, but also fun stuff and also some personal stuff, and then you mix in your offers, not only will your people value from that personally, but they've probably been waiting for it from you anyway. So I would encourage you to think about that from that perspective.
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of those things that I think selling makes people uncomfortable anyway. And that's just because they don't understand the effective way of selling, and people don't put merit or spend the time in putting in the education to understand that selling is psychological. And once you understand it from that point, then it makes it so effortless, because really you're not selling on your social media platforms. You're just demonstrating what you do.
Yeah, that's right.
If you look at my feed, when you pulled up my feed, all I'm doing is demonstrating what I do based on what's going on in my life that day.
Yeah.
So those 3 posts that I had from my live event, I was demonstrating that I'm a teacher, but also in demonstrating that I'm a teacher and I have hands-on events and I'm showcasing some of my students' work, that makes people curious. And hey, when are you having your next class? I had so many people ask me just by me demonstrating, not even mentioning anything about another class. I had so many people reach out to me that I've scheduled another event before the end of the year.
Oh, really? Wow.
That will most likely sell out based on me just demonstrating without me even putting a piece of promo material out there. I rarely post a promotional video on my social media because I don't need to.
And it all started back in this apartment right here.
Yes.
The Gilbert 600 square foot apartment, which I think is about the size of the room you're in right now.
Yeah, probably.
Anyway, so it all started there. And the encouragement for you is wherever you're starting with social media, you may have 2 followers and both of them may be your parents. You may have 200,000 followers or 2 million. But when you implement these strategies, they're going to work because they work for Marquetta and I in real life. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell you, I pulled a favor. All right, so that's basically the best way that I could say this. I've been working for the last month now with Marquetta and Ricky and their team on putting together a course called the Social Media Blueprint. And the course launches, the carts open for this course next week. In fact, most people right now are going on to an early bird list for this course. And when I say I pulled a favor, I mean it. I like twisted a couple arms a little bit, and I finally got Ricky Breslin to say, okay, fine. All right, so here's the deal. I got access for you to this training. Now the training starts live the second week in November. All right. So it's going to go live on Zoom every day for a little over a week with Marquetta. But I get you access inside to the course today, not to have to wait till next week. And here's the cool thing. I'm going to show it to you in a second. The price is ridiculous. I think it is an amazing deal for what you're getting. My going in guess would be this would be like $1,000, maybe a $2,000 course. It's not anywhere close to that. And the second thing I'll tell you is that when you enroll today, Marquetta and I are going to do a separate training for you, a separate Zoom training where we're going to be able to help you and coach you personally on your social media platforms. Okay, so you're going to get like some interaction and some personal coaching, which is actually really, really important. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do real quick. I'm going to show where the page is, and then I'm going to give you the link in a second. Okay, when I give you the link, let me tell you, you don't have much time to do this. Okay, so I know some of you are watching, you're like, I'm totally in. I don't care what it is. But this is the page real quick. There's this beautiful video. This is one of the best videos. You want to enroll first and then come back and watch the video, but this is incredibly well done. And you should listen to what she says because it's really, really important. Okay. And there's a discussion of where she got started. And it's really a great story of what I would call kind of mess to success, from nothing to something extremely significant. And this is probably the most important part. What Marquetta said is that she documented everything that she's done over the last 16 years and never taught this. It's so amazing. You have taught this in little bits here and there, but you've really never put it together into a comprehensive system. And this is the system: attract, engage, grow, and profit. I'm not going to go through all of the bonuses. I'm not going to go through all of the modules, but what I will tell you is there are 5 modules, the things that we were talking about today, that you're going to learn hands-on how to do these things. And then there's what we're calling this the social media treasure trove, which I got to show you some of this stuff. This stuff is blow your mind. This is like the done for you kind of stuff. I really like this. So for example, you've got 27 done for you social media image templates, plug and play stuff that you can use right now based on things that work. 13 done for you fill in the blank social media posts where all the scripting is written for you. 9 plug and play video scripts so you don't have to make up all this stuff. Plus there's a bonus with me where I'm going to talk about how to use what you just learned, potentially if you want to, as a consultant. Okay, so there's details on when the course starts. And like I said, oh, by the way, look at that. Are you kidding me? So it's $95 or 3 by $99. That's the price, which, like I said, normally I do this like huge like lead up to the price and like how much it's going to cost. And then I'm looking, this is a great deal. I can't even do that. I'm just telling you, it's an awesome deal. Okay. So the link is now below. That link is edrush.com/social. Here's the deal. You can wait on this if you want to. The only thing is you're going to lose that bonus training with Marquetta and I working with you. Okay. So if you want to go on the early bird list, wait until the launch opens up next week. The price will be the same. The bonuses, David Zetz already got this, actually. And so jump in there. You're going to get, when you enroll today, you get put into that list so that when we do the training with you, Marquetta and I do that one-on-one training, you're going to get that private coaching, which is really, really helpful. Plus, you get the entire social media blueprint, which I think is a total no-brainer. And I'll just tell you, I don't go to anyone else. Like when I need help on social media, on advertising related to social media, on posting or engagement or anything, I always go to Marquetta and Ricky because those are the people that I consider at the top of their game. And they're not doing it and make money in social media or make money in real estate. They're doing it in the real world. So here's what I would love for you to do. Jump on, do it like David said. Get off the fence. Marquetta's going to blow your mind. So here's what I want you to do.
Thanks, David.
Go enroll and then come back in the chat and tell us that you signed up because I want to know who's going to be on that special training. And we're going to do a little bit more. You'll see some more from me on this course, but now when you get in, you get that extra bonus. So Marquetta, I kind of took the whole offer from there. Actually, I was so excited about it. I just decided to do it. So what do you have to add?
I'm really excited about this because it's something that bridges the gap because a lot of people don't understand even where to start or what to do. And a lot of times it's just like what you said earlier, the information is coming from people who have only ever taught how to build social media, and that's the only business that they have. The beauty in the beauty behind this course is that I have not just worked with beauty professionals. I've worked in other businesses as well. There was a local doctor from South Carolina that we worked with. There's the Michael Waters, who owns Phase One Sports.
Yeah.
I'm still actively working in that business and helping them to build over there on some social media and some ad stuff as well. So it's not just for beauty professionals, it's for anyone who owns a business that needs to build their social media presence to be able to communicate their message effectively, grow their audience, attract the right people, and then turn that profit. So I'm really excited. And that 27 done for you, we're gonna have to update that. It's more like 30 plus.
You're saying
the 27, the 20.
Oh, there's more. Yeah, there's more.
It's a lot more. I'm still adding some stuff in there. And then the important thing too, this is another important thing. Bonus number 4, the done for you, fill in the blanks. A lot of people are just stuck because they overthink and they don't know what to say. I bridge that gap. You don't have to worry about that. But once you get a feel for the 13 done for you, fill in the blanks, then you'll be able to effortlessly do your own thing for that, as well as the video scripts. People say, well, when I get on video, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. And that's how I felt 17 years ago when my brother said, put your video here. I didn't know what to say. I was stumbling over words. It was crazy. So we take all of the guesswork out of that with this course. So I'm really, really excited about it. I wish I had this course when I was starting. If I did, my following and everything would be, oh my gosh, it would be even bigger than it is now. And then the other thing too, the biggest thing too, is a lot of people, especially women, and I hear this a lot, I don't want to have to show off my skin to grow.
Right.
And you don't have to do that. I don't show anything. You may see an arm or a leg.
Or hair. You get to see some hair.
Yeah, some hair. That's about it. So it's exciting. I'm really excited to finally put this in this system and share my knowledge with growing social media.
Yeah, I mean, so like a little background. So Marquetta and I have been talking about this for about a year. I actually asked her, those of you who came to Big Pivot, I actually asked, I said, I want you to come to Big Pivot and I want you to sell a social media course on this. And at the time, there was a lot going on. And they said, look, when we do this, she just said, when we do this, I want to really do it right. And so we just held on to it for a little while. Some of you remember, she came and spoke and taught a lot of social media stuff, but there was no offer or anything like that. And David says, yeah, I thought it would be at least 2,000. I'll tell you a little inside baseball. We talked quite a bit about the price. And fundamentally, what we came down to was anything less than $295, people would go, what's wrong with it? It's so good and the price is so low. So I think that is absolutely the lowest price it could have been. And I think it's an insanely good deal. And my guess is it's going to be about $500 or more when it finally retails. But now you can get in at a really good price. And Sally says the same thing. It's really reasonable. She's had success with LinkedIn and today was excited to have 25 comments on Facebook. That's awesome. Outstanding. So good job. Thank you, Sally, who just signed up. And I don't know if I can see inside of, I guess I can't see inside the cart, but I know several of you are enrolling. So as you do that, just let us know. Again, you can wait. There's no deadline. The deadline is a couple weeks from now. The benefit to enrolling today is, number one, you don't have to worry about it. Number two, you get the great price. And number three, which is like probably going to be the same price throughout the launch. But number three is you get the training with Marquetta and I. So you're going to get in and get some private help, which I think, honestly, if you just spent $295 or 3 payments of $99 just to get one-on-one training with us on your social media, that would be worth it. Okay, for real. So, Celeste, yes. The answer to that is yes. You want to answer that one real quick?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. So that's why all the tools were just created so that you could plug and play or give them to a team to plug and play. And about maybe a quarter to a half of the social media things that happen with me on social media are my team members and not me. Okay.
Yes.
Gina asked an excellent question. So Gina, my sense is that one of the most lucrative ways right now to make money as a consultant is consulting people on social media. The truth is, people have been like, you can't ignore it anymore. It is the primary lead generation source for most businesses. Gina, I'm also doing a session inside here just because of that. I'm doing a session. There's a bonus session on how to. This isn't Top Gun consulting. This is specific to how do you do business deals as a social media consultant. So the answer to that is absolutely yes. And then Charmaine says, very reasonable pricing. Well, yeah, I love everything that Marquetta is a part of. That's why I decided to like. What was the guy that's like, I like this vacuum cleaner so much that I bought the. So I like Marquetta and Ricky so much, I decided to start working with them. Look at that, 80%. How about that?
There you go.
My numbers are probably pretty cool.
The power of social media is amazing. Last night, I posted a video from just some footage from me in India and woke up to a flood of direct messages from people wanting to either buy a class or attend my next hands-on training, either online training or hands-on training. And it was just the video that just talked about something that I'm working. It wasn't even related to a class. It was actually related to our hair company that we're launching. But there is power there. There is power in social media as long as you know how to use it effectively to communicate.
Yeah, I mean, if you watch, for example, even right now, the United States presidential election, whatever your opinion is of what's going on as you're watching it, the majority of the things that are happening are on social media right now. The majority of the controversies, the majority of the advertising, the majority of the discussions, the majority of the everything. And that should tell you something. You can watch that and get frustrated like a lot of us do, or you can watch it and go, hey, there's something I need to know about how people are communicating right now. The president uses Twitter, okay? I'm not a big fan of Twitter, but there's a reason why he does it. And I know all of us have opinions. I'm not intending to be political here. The reason he does it is it's a communication platform to connect to his base. Well, guess what? You have a base too, you know, and you can be very positive with your base. You can share great information and really change people's lives. And the place to do it is on social. And I will just tell you that if I gave myself a grade on social media over the last 2 years, I would give myself an okay. And that's not very good. Okay. So I'm taking this course with Marquetta because I'm going to up my game. I have plenty of followers. Don't get me wrong. Everything's great. And I make money on my social media platform. So I'm not saying it's a big dud, but it could be so much better and it could be so much more personal. And if you follow me on Instagram, you'll notice over the last 2 months, thanks to my coaching from Marquetta, it's definitely gotten better. Okay. It really has gotten a lot better and it's going to continue to improve. So, so this is the course for you. I will be a student as much as I'm a teacher in one of the modules. Gina's in as well. And we do need to wrap up the show. So Marquetta, last minute thoughts before we go today.
Never underestimate what you bring to the table. And I said this a couple days ago on my Instagram account. People need to understand we on social media, we click through and we admire other people, and this post said, don't sleep on how amazing you are. Once you understand how amazing you are, that's going to show on your social media. And listen, go back and listen to this show, write down your notes and start implementing those things. It's very, very, very important that you just start taking action.
Really good. Really good.
Start taking action. Once you start taking action, you'll expand to make room for more information. And I'm excited to see you inside the social media.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be awesome. Get in now while you can and get the small group training. By the time this thing launches, there'll be hundreds of people inside this course, and you want the personal attention. Thank you, Robert, for your awesome comment. The website is below, edrush.com / by the way, Strawberry, I will tell you, this is going to help you for this, okay? Because there's a way to do this without coming off salesy, okay? Hey, Courtney, good to see you as well. Love to have you inside of the training as well. All right, so we need to wrap up. Marquetta Breslin, my friend, my ally, my sister, you are amazing. Another hour goes by. Like, it feels like it was 10 minutes. So We're going to do it again. I think what we're going to do, by the way, for those of you who are on my list, Marquetta and I are going to do a Zoom training next week with a little bit, it's free, okay, with a little bit deeper training on social. We'll talk a little bit about the system there too. So I think it's next Wednesday we talked about doing that. So that'll be for you as like maybe a little bit of a deeper dive. I think this topic is so very important that you really can't overlook it. Okay, so thank you, Marquetta. You're awesome as usual.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Right. Talk to you soon, and thank you for joining us on the show. Come back and join us on Thursday, where we're going to go deeper into some more content that's going to blow your mind. EdTalks Live is out.